Most people are fools who wear their hearts on their sleeves and their tempers on their faces. They think a loud voice is a sharp sword. It's not. It's a dinner bell for predators. Machiavelli knew that the lion only roars to frighten the weak, but the fox wins the day by being invisible. If you get angry, you are handing your enemy the blueprint to your soul. You are telling them exactly how to hurt you, how to distract you, and how to defeat you. To never get angry again is to become a ghost in the machine, present but untouchable. Anger is a chemical leak in your brain that makes you stupid, and in this game, stupid gets you crushed. To never get angry again, you must stop viewing the world through the eyes of a victim and start viewing it through the eyes of a predator. Machiavelli taught that a prince must know how to use both the man and the beast. When someone wrongs you, the average person feels a surge of moral outrage. They cry about what is fair. A fox doesn't care about fair. A fox cares about what is. People are not out to get you. They are out for themselves. If you stop expecting humans to act like saints, you will never be shocked by their shadows. Anger is the result of a shattered illusion. If you have no illusions about human nature, you have no reason to be angry. You don't get mad at a snake for biting. You just don't put your hand in the hole. Imagine a situation where a partner or a close friend leaks a secret you told them in confidence to gain social leverage with a more powerful group. Your instinct is to call them, crying and screaming about betrayal. This is a rookie mistake. By showing your pain, you've told them their betrayal worked. You've given them a second win. The fox's sidestep is to treat the information as if it were a deliberate plant. You call them up, sounding bored, and say, "I'm glad you told them that version of the story. It really helped clear the air for what I'm planning next." You don't explain what that plan is. You leave them paralyzed with paranoia, wondering if they were actually the ones being played. You didn't lose your cool. You flipped the narrative and made them the tool. Machiavelli noted that men are so simple and so much governed by present necessities that he who deceives will always find someone who will let himself be deceived. Most people are angry because they are the ones being deceived. If you adopt the fox's perspective, you are always 2 steps ahead of the lie. When a colleague tries to sabotage your presentation, don't get red-faced and defensive in front of the board. That makes you look guilty or weak. The cunning bypass is to have a backup set of data that addresses their sabotage before they even finish speaking. You let them dig the hole, and then you politely hand them the shovel. You smile while they bury their own reputation. You aren't angry because you knew they would try it, and you were ready to profit from it. Every person you meet is a set of gears and levers. If you know how they work, you can't be "hoo" at the machine for spinning. When someone cuts you off in traffic or insults your work, they are simply revealing their own lack of control. Why would you let a person with no control over themselves take control of you? You remain the observer. You watch the world like a game of chess played by amateurs. While they are busy fuming and reacting, you are calculating the shortest path to the checkmate. Silence is your greatest asset. It keeps your intentions hidden and your blood pressure low. Consider a situation where a rival at your level starts making jokes at your expense during a high-stakes meeting. They are testing your fence, looking for a weak spot. If you snap back with an insult, you've both descended into the mud, and the onlookers see 2 children squabbling. You've lost your status. The cold-blooded bypass is to look them dead in the eye with a blank, bored expression. Don't blink. Wait 3 seconds too long before asking, "Are you finished? We have a budget to discuss." You haven't just won the argument. You've signaled that their entire existence is a minor inconvenience to your mission. You remain the adult in the room, and they look like an erratic liability. Machiavelli taught that a prince must know how to act like a beast, but he must choose which beast. The angry man is a wounded bull, easy to lead into a ring and kill. The cold man is the butcher. When you feel that surge of heat, treat it like a fever. It's an infection. Your goal isn't to process your feelings like some weakling in a therapy chair. Your goal is to use that energy to fuel a calculated response. Anger is a fire that burns your own house down to warm your hands. Instead, keep your house ice cold and let the other guy freeze to death outside. Imagine a scenario where a family member or friend brings up a past failure just to poke the bruise. They want to see you squirm or hear you defend yourself. If you get defensive, you've validated their power over you. The ruthless maneuver here is to agree completely and then move on without a beat. You're right. That was a disaster. Luckily, I learned exactly who not to trust from it. Pass the salt? You've turned their weapon into a blunt object. You didn't give them the satisfaction of a reaction, which is the only thing they were hungry for. By starving them of your anger, you leave them hollow and powerless. True mastery is realizing that nobody is worth your blood pressure. If you are angry at a subordinate, a clerk, or a competitor, you are admitting they are your equal. They aren't. A king doesn't get angry at the weather. He just builds a better roof. Every time someone tries to provoke you, see it as a test of your sovereign control. If you fail, you're a subject. If you stay cold, you're the ruler. The world belongs to those who can watch it burn without shedding a tear or raising a finger in frustration. Patience is not a virtue. It is a stage you build for your enemies. Most people are impulsive creatures. They want what they want now, and they react now. Machiavelli understood that the man who can endure the passage of time without flinching is the man who eventually owns the clock. To never get angry again, you must realize that anger is an acceleration. It's an attempt to force a result through raw heat. But heat burns the cook. True power is cold. It is the ability to sit perfectly still while your opponent exhausts himself, trips over his own ego, and eventually hands you his throat because he's too tired to keep his guard up. If you can wait while others panic, you are already their master. Imagine a scenario where a client or a boss is stiffing you on a promised bonus or a promotion, dangling it like a carrot while moving the goalposts. Your blood boils. You want to storm in, quit on the spot, and tell them exactly what they can do with their promises. That's an emotional suicide mission. If you quit in a rage, you leave with nothing but a bruised reputation. The calculated outweight is to smile, nod, and work exactly 10% less every day while using their office internet to secure a better offer with their biggest competitor. You stay patient and loyal until the very second your new contract is signed. Then you walk out on their busiest day of the year with zero notice. You didn't get angry. You stayed patient until the leverage shifted entirely into your hands. Machiavelli noted that time often brings with it as much evil as good. Your job is to ensure the evil lands on the other guy. When someone insults you, they are trying to start a fire. If you don't provide the oxygen of a reaction, the fire dies, and they are left holding a burnt match. Every second you stay calm while someone else is screaming is a second you are winning. You are collecting data. You are watching their patterns. You are seeing exactly how they break. A man who cannot be provoked is a man who cannot be defeated, because you can't hit a target that refuses to stand in the ring with you. Think of a friend who constantly forgets to pay you back for small things, testing your boundaries to see when you'll finally blow up and look like the petty one. If you make a scene over $20, you look small. The predatory endurance move is to stop lending, stop caring about the $20, and wait. Wait until they need a massive favor, a job reference, a ride to the airport, or a character witness. Then you simply aren't available. No explanation, no anger, just a cold no. When they ask why, you don't bring up the money. You just shrug. You've let them build a debt of character that costs them far more than the cash ever did. You won because you weren't in a rush to settle the score. Anger is a sprint. Power is a marathon. If you react instantly, you are playing their game. If you wait, you are making them play yours. The world is full of people who destroy themselves because they couldn't wait 5 minutes for the right opening. Don't be one of them. Be the one who watches the water rise, knowing exactly when the dam will break. Most people are slaves to their own biology. They have buttons that anyone can press to make them jump, scream, or fail. Machiavelli knew that a man who cannot govern himself has no business governing others. To never get angry again, you must find every trigger in your soul and crush it into dust. You don't manage your triggers, you delete the part of you that cares. If a word, a gesture, or a setback can ruin your day, you are a peasant in a crown. The goal is to reach a state of divine indifference where the world can throw its worst at you and find nothing to grab onto. You aren't being zen, you're being a fortress. Imagine a situation where a subordinate or a family member says exactly the thing they know hurts you most. Maybe a jab at your deepest insecurity or a past mistake. They are looking for the flinch. They want to see your eyes darken. If you explode, you've handed them the remote control to your life. The cold-blooded overwrite is to stare at them as if they are a bug on a windshield. Don't defend yourself. Don't explain. Simply ask, is that the best you've got? By refusing to flinch, you've broken the trigger. You've shown them that the weapon they thought was lethal is actually a toy. They will leave the interaction feeling small, confused, and terrified of your lack of humanity. Machiavelli noted that men change their masters willingly, hoping to better themselves, but they only end up making things worse. Most people change their moods based on who is talking to them. That is a slave's life. You must be your own master. If a business deal collapses and you lose a fortune, the average man weeps and blames the system. The ruthless pivot is to treat the loss like a weather report. It rained. So what? You don't scream at the clouds. You immediately begin the work of building a new empire while your competitors are still at the bar complaining about their bad luck. You aren't angry because you don't believe you're owed a win. You just play until you get one. Your triggers are just ego traps. When you kill the ego, the anger dies with it. If someone calls you a liar and you know you're a winner, why does the opinion of a loser matter? It doesn't. You only get angry when you secretly fear they might be right. The fix for this is to become so solid in your own reality that the outside world feels like a poorly scripted movie. When the villain says his lines, you don't get mad. You just wait for your cue to take over the scene. Control is the only currency that doesn't devalue. Spend it wisely. A prince who builds his house on the shifting sands of his own moods is a fool who deserves to be homeless. Machiavelli understood that your mind is the only territory you truly own. If you allow a stray insult or a sudden setback to breach those walls, you've been colonized without a single shot being fired. Most people are emotional open cities. Anyone can walk in and start a fire. To never get angry again, you must turn your psyche into a bunker of cold stone. You don't deal with your feelings. You wall them off so they can't interfere with the machinery of your ambition. If you are unshakable, you are unpredictable. And if you are unpredictable, you are dangerous. Machiavelli noted that a prince should have no other object or thought than war and its rules and discipline. Anger is a breach of discipline. It's a leak in the engine. When you feel that heat, recognize it as a foreign invader trying to sabotage your internal palace. You don't negotiate with invaders. You execute them. You stay cold because cold is where the math happens. You stay silent because silence is where the traps are set. Think of a scenario where someone you trust, a partner or a key employee, quits at the worst possible moment, hoping to leave you stranded and begging. They want the satisfaction of seeing you break. The structural bypass here is to act as if they were already irrelevant. I appreciate the notice, you say, already looking back at your screen. Leave your keys with the front desk. No shouting. No, how could you? No emotion. By showing zero anger, you strip them of their sense of importance. You've signaled that they were just a brick in the wall, and bricks are easily replaced. You aren't hurt because a tool broke. You just go get a better tool. Forgiveness is a mask the wise wear to keep the foolish close enough to watch. Machiavelli knew that men forget the death of their father sooner than the loss of their patrimony. If you get angry and shout, you are signaling that you are hurt, and a hurt man is a vulnerable man. To never get angry again, you must replace your rage with a cold, tallying ledger. When someone crosses you, the moral thing to do is to vent and move on. The ruthless thing, the prince's way, is to smile, offer a hand in forgiveness, and wait. Anger is a loud, messy explosion that leaves you exhausted. Real power is a silent precision strike that happens months later when the other person thinks the debt has been forgotten. You don't get mad, you just collect. Imagine a situation where a business partner or a close associate cuts you out of a deal you built together. Your instinct is to call them, screaming about loyalty and betrayal. If you do that, you've declared war before you've mobilized your troops. You've given them the chance to prepare their defense. The calculated mercy play is to act hurt for exactly 10 seconds, then accept their hollow apology. Tell them you value the relationship more than the money. While they are busy feeling relieved and superior, you are quietly moving your assets, documenting their every legal slip-up, and poisoning their reputation with their biggest clients. You stay friends until the very moment you drop the hammer that ruins them. You didn't waste a single heartbeat on anger. You spent that energy on the setup. Machiavelli noted that if an injury is to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. Anger often leads to half measures, a slap in the face, a mean text, a public snub. These are pinpricks that only make your enemy more alert. If you stay calm, you can plan an injury so total that they never get back up. Why get red-faced over a minor insult when you can stay ice-cold and take everything they have? Your lack of anger is your cloaking device. It makes people think you are nice or soft, which is exactly where you want them. A man who is smiling is a man who isn't suspected of planning a coup. Think of a scenario where a friend mocks you in front of a group to make themselves look bigger. You could snap back and start a pathetic verbal tennis match. Instead, you laugh along. You make a self-deprecating joke that makes everyone feel comfortable. You've just won the room. But in your mind, that person is now a ghost. The strategic erasure is to stop providing them with value. No more introductions, no more advice, no more help. When they eventually hit a wall and come to you for a lifeline, you don't bring up the insult. You don't get angry. You just stay busy. You watch them drown with a polite smile on your face. You didn't forgive them. You just stopped recognizing their existence. The weak get angry at the weather because they think the sky owes them sunshine. Machiavelli knew that fortune is a river that, when it surges, floods the plains and tears down trees. The fool stands on the bank and screams at the water. The prince builds dams and diversions long before the rain starts. To never get angry again, you must kill the delusion of deserving a smooth path. Anger is the sound of a man being crushed by a reality he didn't prepare for. If you expect the world to be a chaotic, treacherous, and unpredictable arena, then nothing can surprise you into a rage. You don't get mad at the chaos, you harvest it. Imagine you've spent months building a business deal, and at the final hour, the government changes a regulation that makes your entire project illegal. Your partners are fuming, looking for someone to blame, wasting hours in venting sessions. Their anger is a confession of their own lack of foresight. The ruthless pivot is to be the only person in the room who doesn't change their expression. While they are mourning the old world, you are already reading the new laws to find the loophole that only exists because of the change. By the time your competitors have finished their temper tantrums, you've already secured the monopoly on the new legal way to operate. You didn't lose a second to anger, so you gained a fool on the field. Machiavelli noted that the man who adapts his policy to the times prospers. Anger is a sign of a rigid mind, a mind that is still fighting a battle that has already been lost. When the unexpected hits, Anger is a luxury that costs you your reaction time. If your car is stolen, if your house burns down, if your market vanishes, these are just new variables in the equation. The fox's realignment is to immediately ask, how does this catastrophe make my enemies vulnerable? Every disaster reshuffles the deck. If you stay calm while everyone else is blinded by the dust, you can see where the gold fell out of their pockets. Think of a scenario where you are passed over for a promotion you were guaranteed. Most people would storm into the office, demand an explanation, and ruin their reputation in a blaze of righteous fury. That is exactly what your rivals want to see. The cold-blooded counter is to walk in, congratulate the person who got it, and offer to help them transition. You stay perfectly composed. Why? Because you are now the most dangerous person in that office. You are the one with no ego to bruise, making you invisible. While they think you've accepted the loss, you are using your access to gather the intel you need to jump to a superior company, taking their best clients and their best secrets with you. You didn't get angry. You stayed liquid, and liquid always finds the crack in the floor. The world is designed to trigger you. If you want more strategies on how to turn your emotions into an arsenal and your silence into a storm, you know what to do. Strike the subscribe button. Don't let the algorithm decide what you learn. Command your feed. Ring the bell. Ensure you're the first to get the tactical updates before your competition does. Leave a cold comment. Tell me about a time you stayed silent and won. I want to see who among you is actually listening. Stay calm. Stay sharp. See you in the next one.